Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Max. The night my wife mocked and laughed at me in front of our friends, something inside me shifted. Brooke and I had tied the knot after dating for less than a year. Looking back now, that should have been my first red flag. We moved far too quickly. We never really paused to understand each other beyond the surface level, beyond the rush of early attraction and excitement. We first crossed paths at a mutual friend's party. I was 29, working as an operations supervisor at a manufacturing plant. Brooke was 28, employed as a sales associate at a mid-range store in the mall. She was lively and outgoing, always at the center of the social buzz. I was her opposite, quiet, reserved, more at ease listening than speaking. I've always preferred a couple of meaningful conversations over mingling with a crowd. At the time, those differences felt like a perfect balance. She pulled me out of my quiet corner, and I grounded her in a way she seemed to need. It was a classic opposite attract story that looks romantic at the start. We dated for 10 months before I proposed, and she accepted eagerly. Within 2 months, we planned a small, simple wedding with just close family and friends. No extravagance, just a modest ceremony. Our early married life was stable, almost routine. I worked long shifts at the plant, while she worked varying hours at the store. Most nights we'd have dinner, watch TV together, then head to bed. It was ordinary comfortable, with its usual share of small arguments about chores, money, or work stress, but nothing that threatened the relationship. I truly believed I was doing everything right. I was loyal, financially responsible, dependable, and emotionally present. I shared the household responsibilities, remembered special dates, and supported her when life weighed on her. But behind that sense of stability, one part of our marriage began to quietly fade: our physical connection. In the beginning, intimacy had been passionate and frequent. We were close several times a week, and everything between us felt easy. But over 3 years, that spark dimmed. By our 3rd anniversary, we were intimate maybe twice a month, and even then it felt forced, like going through motions instead of sharing something real. I was always the one initiating, always the one trying to create romance or closeness. She always had a reason not to: too tired, a headache, not in the mood, early morning, or even having eaten too much. Those excuses slowly chipped away at me. I began to feel unwanted, like something was wrong with me, but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding desperate. So I buried it, convincing myself that this was just what married life looked like. About 4 months ago, I decided to shake things up. I thought maybe stepping out of our monotonous routine and doing something fun with other couples might help us reconnect. So I arranged a double date with a co-worker and his wife, 2 people whose marriage I quietly admired. My plan was simple: start at an escape room, have dinner afterward, maybe drinks if the night went well. But when I told Brooke, her reaction was lukewarm at best. She was annoyed that I made plans without asking her first. She questioned why I was trying to force fun. Still, she eventually agreed, though with no real enthusiasm. The night came. At the escape room, something shifted. Brooke started laughing, enjoying the jump scares, competing with the other couple, high-fiving me when we solved tough puzzles. For the first time in a while, I felt hope. This was what we'd been missing. Afterward, we grabbed dinner at a casual restaurant. Conversation flowed easily, full of stories and laughter. Then my friend suggested drinks at a nearby bar. It was a dimly lit dive with pool tables and a jukebox. We settled into a booth and ordered a few rounds. By the second drink, everyone was relaxed and joking. Then someone suggested a couple-themed drinking game, truth or dare-style questions. At first, it was lighthearted, embarrassing first dates, annoying habits, funny stories. We laughed and played along. But then my friend's wife, tipsy and smirking, asked Brooke, "Okay, real talk. What's one thing you wish Max could do better in bed?" For a heartbeat, everything froze. I felt my stomach knot, expecting her to brush it off with a joke. Instead, she took a sip of her drink, smiled, and said casually, "Honestly, I just wish there was a little more to work with. Laughter erupted around the table. I forced a weak smile while my insides burned. I'd always known I wasn't well endowed, but I believed it didn't matter to her. Hearing her turn something so private into a joke for others to hear broke something in me. My friend must have sensed a shift because he quickly changed the subject. But I was already gone, mentally checked out, just waiting to leave. When we got home after midnight, the silence in the car was suffocating. Brooke hummed along to the radio like nothing had happened. In our bedroom, I finally asked her if she truly thought I was small. Still tipsy, she didn't hesitate. "Yeah, honestly," she said. Then she added with cruel nonchalance, "You're the smallest I've ever been with." I just stood there, stunned. She saw the hurt on my face and tried to laugh it off. "Relax," she said. "It was just a joke. You're too sensitive." That was the moment something inside me shut down. She wasn't sorry. She didn't care. From then on, I pulled away. I stopped talking, stopped trying to bridge the growing distance. Her words replayed in my head endlessly. Was this why she'd lost interest in intimacy? Had she been comparing me to others? If she wasn't satisfied, where else was she finding what I couldn't give? Suspicion began to take root. She might be cheating. 3 days later, I hired a private investigator. I explained everything, her distance, the public humiliation, my gut feeling. He was calm and professional. Said he'd tail her for 2 to 3 weeks. I handed over her schedule, photos, her workplace. But even before getting any answers, deep down, I already knew the truth. Her comment, her indifference, the emotional void, it had all said enough. I quietly stopped trying. No more sweet gestures, no more conversations that weren't absolutely necessary. I became a roommate, not a husband. She noticed. She joked once that I hadn't even filled her gas tank like usual. I didn't respond. I was waiting for her to acknowledge what she'd done. She never did. Instead, she drifted even further away, coming home later, avoiding eye contact, answering vaguely about where she'd been. I didn't confront her. I just waited for the investigator's call. 3 weeks later, he handed me a manila envelope in a coffee shop. Photos, timestamps, locations. Proof. She was seeing a man from the gym she joined months ago. Their meetings went back weeks, probably longer. I stared at the photos, oddly calm. I'd been right. That night, as I drove home, I knew our marriage was already over. She just didn't realize it yet. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream or demand explanations. I contacted a divorce attorney the next day. The lawyer reviewed the investigator's report carefully and explained my options. Because our marriage was under 5 years and her infidelity was documented, I had legal leverage. We had shared assets, but alimony would be limited. I instructed her to file as soon as possible. 5 days later, the papers were served to Brooke at her workplace. I got the text confirming delivery. That evening, when I walked in, she was on the couch with the document spread out, her face twisted with anger and disbelief. She exploded the moment she saw me. "How could you do this without talking to me first?" Over one stupid joke. I didn't reply. I walked to the bedroom and started packing a bag. Her rage shifted to tears. She begged, promised therapy, swore she'd change. But I'd already made my decision. I gently removed her hand from my arm, walked out, and spent the night at a hotel with her number blocked. The legal process stretched on for months. She contested at first, claiming I was being unreasonable, begging for another chance. But the PI's evidence shut down any hope she had of denying the affair. She switched tactics, demanding a larger settlement. Her lawyer argued for spousal support, claiming she'd sacrificed career opportunities for our marriage. My attorney countered. Short marriage fought on her side. Negotiations went back and forth, months of cold exchanges through lawyers. She tried to reach me through different numbers, friends, even showing up uninvited. I kept my distance completely. 10 months later, the settlement was finalized. She got a portion of the marital assets, some savings, some furniture, but no long-term support. The court weighed everything, including her infidelity and the short length of our marriage. On a Thursday afternoon, We signed the final divorce papers in separate rooms. I walked out of that courthouse and never saw her again. In the months after I rebuilt, I kept the house, rediscovered old hobbies, and reflected deeply on what this marriage had taught me. How silence can destroy you, how ignoring red flags only delays the inevitable, and how self-respect is non-negotiable. Yes, I lost money and things I worked hard for, but those can be replaced. What I gained was far more valuable. My peace, my dignity, and a renewed sense of self-worth. Almost 2 years later, I'm in a different place emotionally. More cautious, but not bitter. I know now that Brooke's cruelty and betrayal reflected her, not me. That night at the bar was a turning point. The mask slipped, and I finally saw her clearly. Walking away had a cost, but staying would have cost me even more. Peace is worth the price.